Hey everybody, it's Vicki Ross with Axully. I'm actually going to do some collage, and I've been watching people do this, and I thought, I used to do this in high school and college. I think I can do this. So I'm not going to say it's my first, I'm just going to say it's my first in a long time. I wish I had some pictures of some of the stuff I have done. I'm pretty impressed now that I think back on it. So, I'm working in the Reevely Journal. I always get their names mixed up. Diane Reevely and Dina Wakely. I get their names all mixed up. So, in that journal, it's the big one, and I found a piece of scrapbook paper that I bought at a thrift store, of course, and I played around yesterday with all these pieces and parts and stuff, and I cut one picture out and I liked the coloration on it. And he's a fiddler. Anyway, get that out of the way. And I trimmed and fussy cut and trimmed and fussy cut, and finally ended up with thinking that I just needed to trim the whole thing out because he kept disappearing into the background. Then I thought, okay, let's try something else. I started with, that was already on there. I cut out a circle, and I had a girl. Always got to have a girl. And she needed a crown on her head. So there's another piece. It's kind of a wedding ring crown. It can be whatever you want. And then I found him. So everything is kind of fussy cut. I can move her over just a little bit. Her dress can cut off and still read right. And guess what? He's got a trophy in his hand. So let's bring back the fiddler. So I don't want too much of him. I also don't want it to look like he's going up her leg with the fiddle. And then I got to worry about where the ropes go, because I may decide to, let's pull this up and pull that foot over. Maybe that would work. Pull her foot over. Yeah, that doesn't look quite so nasty. We don't want nasty. But now I've covered up my background. So I've got to decide if I really want that in there. And I tried turning it to see if, but then I've got that bottle showing, even though the dark does kind of set her off. Decisions, decisions. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the well runs dry? Do-da day. Okay, so that's just not quite working. And then I tried my little bits and pieces to try to coordinate some colors back to him, and the yellow and this background color. So I ditched that. See, here's another piece, but when you put that back here behind our trophy seeker, that kind of hides that a little bit. So anyway, long story short, and I am going to keep this. This paper has the same color tone as that. Now I know that I want to see some of the map, so I may not use the circle, and I am going to trim some off. This paper is discolored, probably been in somebody's garage for a long time. That just really doesn't do anything, and this covers it all up. So I'm thinking we don't need this anymore. Yeah, she looks just fine on that, I think, by herself, without anything behind her. And then he can snuggle right up under that hand. Just like that. And then bring in the fiddler. We decided he needed to be on top, and then we'll bring her foot there. Don't want any tangents, so we don't want the rope to just kiss her elbow. We want it to overlap it, or in other words, we just want some elbow to show up. Does that make sense? That doesn't make a bit of sense. We don't want the elbow to touch it just right there, because that's an art trick. So we want to see, okay, so that would give us some elbow on both sides. That would go away from his privates, and the loving cup is in a good position. That would trim off part of the dress. I'm going to cut this. So just cut pieces that allow you to overlap and underlap like we've done here. She's got something pink on her finger, piece of paper. See, I cut her hand away from her body. I use an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat, and that way you can kind of snug things up together to make them look a little bit more like they belong in the same piece, and that's what we're after. So now he goes here, and her foot comes here. Now, does that look funny? Because her foot could be coming in between his arm. We could move him that way. He doesn't have to be square to the world. So that could come up that way. Or I could have her entire body behind the fiddler. I do like seeing that leg though. So then that means he would have to be up a little bit higher. Because I think if her foot is in front of him, then she needs to be lower just a little bit, and he's on a swing. So that might work. And then check the ropes. We could bring the ropes behind the arm. That might work. Now, Then the next thing I do is, I've already got the idea in my head, something about trophy date or trophy wife in the Fiddler. So I came up with, if you want to dance, you've got to pay the fiddler. My laser printer is on the blink, so I have printed this with several different fonts on my inkjet printer in case I want to mix them up. And then I sprayed it with Winsor Newton Workable Fixative because this is the inkjet, and I like the black type, so I think that's a pretty good size. So we're going to go with that. If you want to dance, you've got to pay the fiddler. That's what she's saying to him, and he's enticing her with a loving cup as though she's the trophy. And I think that just ties it all together really, really good. Now, first step is to glue down the paper. But before I do that, I'm thinking, hear my brain rattling? Is that any better? Maybe. Okay, and again, talking about tangents, we don't want her foot touching exactly on the bottom of the page. Runoffs are good where you can trim. That one's, his chair is acceptable, but we're gonna just pretend that's okay because everything else is reading correctly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to very lightly trace around my images. I'm making sure here that his chair is square to the world. And we're going to trace around him. It's real loose. So all you anal people out there, take a lesson from me and learn to loosen up. Alright, so he's traced. Make sure she hasn't moved. Get the bottom part of her dress. Whoops, see, he shifted on me a little bit. Want to run those ropes right there. Now, let's see, where is he? Right there. Put her back up here. Okay, now I want to trace where those ropes are. Okay. And you'll see the method for that madness here in just a minute. Now comes the fun part. Don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try it though. This is my glue sponge, and I do have a video on that online. I'm going to take this sponge off the top, and I'm going to use it like a glue stick. I mean, I'm going to have my hands in it anyway, so now I'm using my belly to hold the book. How's that for attractive? Okay, pop that back in. Make sure I've got my map facing right side up. Pull it down just a little. And that stuff pulled quickly, so alright, put that back in the bucket. I'm going to spray it. Just sprayed myself in the face. Now I need a credit card somewhere over the rainbow. From the middle out, an X and plus sign to make sure that everything is adhered. I like my glue pad. Not too wet. It adhered really quickly. And I could bring this page over, hit a time or two on that, on the back of the paper, in case I'm out of the field of vision, which I am. Okie doke. Perfect. And that can be trimmed off later. I like that I had my edges turned over a little bit first, because when it came time to put that on there, it went on nicely. It played nice. Now, I'm going to start with old paper, which is, whoops, Ranger Distress. I have one of these little finger things. Aren't those cute? I thought I had one that was already used, but I guess it doesn't matter. There's one. Anyway, those are cute. And once it's dry, it doesn't matter anyway, although it could come back up. Oh, that's going to be perfect color. I love happy accidents. I'm going outside the lines just a little. And the reason... Oh no! I tore her arm off. Where is it? Oh, it's just folded back. Whew! Alright. Sorry for the panic. See that? I want a little bit of a halo, but I don't want it to be very dark. So it just really does look like old paper. I wanted to make sure my idea was going to work. Or that this was dark enough, and I think it is. All the cut places, I'm just making those solid. I don't want too much interruption of the field of vision. I'm lost. My pad's acting dry. I hope I've got a refill for that. Okay, put my lid away. Now I'm just double checking the outlines to see, make sure I've got everything with enough of a shadow coat. Now I need a little bit on his pants leg. You're up there. And you're right there. Okay. I guess I'm ready to go. So this little guy will definitely go on last. going to use my sponge again out of the box. Well, maybe not. We know we want his. Alright, throw caution to the wind. Quit being so persnickety. I am sure glad I traced around this, because her arm comes up and she's sitting right here. Oh, we all know your kind. Yes, we do. We know you guys. Wearing your perfectly scuffed Ivy League prep shoes. Yeah, we know you guys. We smart girls. I've got to decide if her arm is on top or underneath. I think we're going to put it I want this to look organic, if at all possible, because I want them to look like they're meshed together. And if they're not, then I'll go back in with some more inks. Maybe a Stabilo All pencil. And I decided to have her foot on top. Now, it's not going to be perfectly without bubbles because of the way I put it on. But that's okay too. Now at this point my fingers are getting really sticky. So I need to be real careful that I don't pull the rippage, if you know what I mean. And of course I don't have a paper towel handy. Let me get one. I think maybe a baby wipe might be better. And I was so concerned about getting some shadow there that I forgot about here. And I think I was going to have her leg coming over him, but you know what? It is where it is. That's serendipity. And we're going to leave it. We are fairly well adhered with my unconventional method. So I'm going to spray my glue sponge again, and I am storing this upside down. I think I'm in love with that little thing. Okie doke. I say that all the time, don't I? Sorry. I say that all the time too, but I'm really not. If I were, I'd quit doing it. Okay, now I've got Deco Art Matte Medium and a palette knife. And I'm going to come back in and restick any areas that look like they need it. I am beyond thrilled at the way my glue sponge behaves. You want to make sure you are glued down and you're not going anywhere. until you pay the piper. There you go. Or the fiddler. Whichever the case may be. Okay, that didn't take much. My ink pad didn't do quite what I could have gone just a little bit darker. So we're going to try this. And I should have gotten my water brush out first, but I didn't. This is a Crayola Super Tip marker. It's in dark brown. Marks better on the raw scrapbook paper. Than on the coated paper in her dress. And that hand is loose. See, it's beating up on that. So maybe a Stabilo All pencil in my future. Really, those shoes are just too much. I'm sure your Ivy League job and your daddy can get you some better shoes. But we all know that game too, don't we, girls? Look like you need to be rescued. And you need us to keep you dressed decently. Yipper. We know ya. She's saying, put a ring on it, buddy. Just realized I didn't adjust her hat, but it was kind of down over one eye, but that's okay too. Alright, that's looking a little shadowy. Now I put the ink pad all the way around, can make a halo, and I'm putting the dark brown like the light is coming from where the trophy is. Capiche? So that would make my shadowy areas on the far side of the light. Oh, here. Excuse me. Well, whatever I thought was unstuck with that hand is stuck back. My glue sponge, I do find it takes it a few seconds to really get a good adherence. Is that a word? Now you're getting smart. Vicki has her moments. Except the Sharpie isn't working. It's another one of those, doesn't have to be in your face. Ow! I just stuck myself with the Sharpie. It doesn't have to be in your face kind of done. We just want the illusion of that rope. And that definitely is an illusion there because you got off pattern. Sharpie's down. It's one thing you can say for that. Just a hint is what I'm after. see. I've had these Sharpies forever. Be careful with the Sharpies because they do pull up damp paper. Okie dokie. Ooh. That's kind of a limey greeny. It's supposed to be yellow. It's a white China marker. Just hit some highlights here and there. I like the way that marks. Still want a little bit more. Okie dokie. I see some air bubbles right there, but I'm not going to worry about them. do you think? You still with me? I think that's fine. We are not obsessing. Watch me not obsess. And the reason I don't have my glue sponge out is because the matte medium was closer. This is a perfect job for the glue sponge. Let me get it and show you. Touch. And that is it. Isn't that fun? So quick. Now, gonna dry that a minute. Good enough for who it's for. I'm coming back in with a black Stabilo. You could use your... That's not really working that well on the glossy paper either. I'm trying to keep the white paper fairly white. And drop the Stabilo in the floor. I'm glad I didn't just sharpen it. the magic pencil. I felt something to come up right there. And with all the water brushes I have in this house, I picked up a flat one. That's okay too. Anything you grab works. Look at that mark. Kind of looks like a dancing mark, like those letters are just floating. Rock on. Oh, look at there's his chair just sitting there floating in space. We're going to ground that puppy. I don't know what that white spot is, but it's gone now. Well, let's trim this. I'm feeling a few edges that aren't quite glued down. So the glue sponge may have some limitations, but you know what? I like it. It didn't soak the paper, and when it adheres, it is down. So it's kind of like, again, like I said earlier, a glue stick in a sponge form, because I used the gel glue. It's not as wet as the White Elmer's. Give that another shot. silicone tool Tuesday morning. Matte medium over the whole thing. Stuck together for all eternity. Ain't no way you're getting out of this one, buddy. Trophy or no trophy. And if you want to be my trophy, you better get another pair of shoes. 'Cause those look like grammar school. Like you've been playing polo in them. Not impressed. Not falling for it. This is a kitchen tool from Tuesday morning. I got a set of 4 or 5 of them for $10 and they work great. I mean, come on. Catalyst are $20, $30 a piece. Bubbles aren't going to bother me. The bubbles aren't going to bother me because I would have had more using matte medium. For real. Scratching the color off the magazine. That little tool works really good. And the good thing about silicone is anything that sticks to it and it dries, you can just peel it right off. And I can come back over this with Deco Art varnish or maybe just Daddy Van's wax. Okay, get out of there before you pull some more ink off. Dry it. Bye-bye, white spot. Alrighty. I haven't done this in a while because I have been doing journaling by fives, and I don't want the green. July 27th, so that was the last time I did anything that required a date. September 2, so that has to be a 0. And of course, I always go the wrong way. 0, 4, 3, 2. Alrighty. I'm just proud of myself that I learned that the rounded tip goes away from me. There you go. Put that up, put that up. Now I need a black marker. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Don't like that one. And that one doesn't like the paper. Mulatto. What? I haven't used this yet. That was bigger than I wanted, but hey. You know it's me. That knocked it back a little bit. In fact, I don't like that at all. Aha. The joys of matte medium. Don't. Where are my fine point tips that will write on anything? Sharpie? That's better. I can live with that. Ta-da! Okay guys, that is a wrap. Hope you enjoyed it, and I know I did. I'm going to let it dry overnight, and then I'm going to put a little bit of wax on it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.